Hello friends, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming and welcome to another Path of Exile video. Today's video was prompted because recently one of my buddies started playing PoE, and prior to that my girlfriend had started playing PoE, and both of them were unfamiliar with a specific topic that we're going to talk about today, and that topic is vendor recipes. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of vendor recipes I find useful for leveling, and then a couple that I use myself in the end game that could be helpful, and a couple maybe that I don't use necessarily myself, but you still may find useful anyway. A link to the entirety of the vending recipes wiki is going to be pinned in the description below, so check that out if you want to see those, and let's pop into it. Alright, the first and possibly most useful leveling tip I'm going to give you for spellcasters, or the best vendor recipe, is the +1 to gem level wand recipe. This also works for scepters, and the way you do this is you need a magic wand, so you simply either buy it magic, there may be some in the store such as this one, or you can go ahead and just put a transmute on it. And then you will vendor it with an alteration and a sapphire ring to get +1 to cold gem levels, a topaz ring if you want +1 to socketed lightning, and a ruby ring if you want to get +1 to socketed fire. Now, one of the ways you can get any of these rings if you don't have them is you can buy an iron ring. They're very cheap. In this case, I don't have a ruby ring, so I'll go ahead and buy heavy strike here, a red gem, a strength gem, and you would buy for lightning. If you want to get a topaz ring, you would instead buy a green gem, a dexterity gem, and for a cold ring, sapphire ring, you'll get a blue gem for that. So what I would do now is I would simply sell the iron ring with the red gem. I'll get a ruby ring out of the deal. And then, as you can see, I can make the same trade, the magic wand, the orb of alteration, and the ruby ring to get +1 socketed fire gems. Now, if I wanted to get +1 to chaos gems, that's something you can do now. I would simply go through here and find a chaos gem, such as Blight, any chaos gem, and now you don't even need the alteration. You can simply do the magic wand plus any chaos gem, and you will get +1 to socketed chaos gems. And they do retain their sockets, so getting a 3 linked socket wand would be preferable in this case, so I'll show you that. See, still blue, blue, green. And from there you can simply pop on an augment and you have yourself a 2 property one, and it can be very useful for leveling. So I hope you enjoyed that, and on to the next one. Alright, this next recipe is going to be for melee users. You can take a weapon and either a magic or a rare Rustic Sash, and the outcome will depend on that, along with a blacksmith's whetstone, and you can get +2 physical weapon damage, so you'll get increased physical weapon damage. The values depend on whether or not it is magic or rare, so in this case it is 40 to 49% for magic and 50 to 69% for rare. We will show that, and for the rare one you can see it's up to 62 in this case, and for the magic one it's 42, so you can get those ranges. This is quite nice for wanting to level with a melee character and not already having melee leveling weapons or lower level leveling weapons. So if you're starting off a new league or you're starting off in solo self-found, this can be very useful for the leveling process. You can just buy the best weapon that you can get for your level, and yeah, toss this on it, and it, of course, as the previous one does, it will retain its sockets. So blue, blue, red, blue, sorry, green, green, red, green, green, red. And yeah, that's it for that one. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we're moving on to the next one. Alright, the next one is one you can start using pretty early on, and you can use it pretty much through your entire PoE career, and that is the chromatic recipe. If you see an item in the shop or on the ground here that has a red, green, and blue socket that are linked together, you can simply purchase this. and then you can resell it and you'll get a Chromatic Orb. This is great in the late game when you're going to need to try to get the right colors for certain link setups. So you'll be wanting to do that pretty often. I would recommend checking the vendors to see if they have chromatic items fairly often and to watch out for ones on the ground. I personally like to pick up ones that only take up 3 or 4 slots of inventory space, so I'm not having to constantly go back to town. But these are going to be incredibly important, incredibly useful for you later on, and you're probably going to need a lot of them in the long run. Alright, the next one is in a similar vein, although it starts dropping a little bit later. You'll start seeing 6 socket items drop on the ground, and having a good loot filter that'll notify you of these and chromatic items and highlight those for you is very nice. 6 socket items, you can purchase them or pick them up off the ground, and this is one you'll always use through your Path of Exile career. You sell them for 7 Jeweler's Orbs. Jeweler's Orbs are incredibly useful, and they're for making it so that your items have more sockets. They're perhaps even more useful in that you can actually kind of trade them for 4 of them for 1 Fusing Orb. Fusing Orb is something, if you're going to link your own items, you'll go through thousands and thousands of. Sometimes it takes that long just 6 link an item, many thousands potentially. So you'll need a lot of these, and you can think of every 6 socket item that drops as 1 3/4 Fusing Orbs, which makes them very, very valuable. Alright, our next recipe is something people have been using for a long time. It's a good way to generate currency if you aren't going to be doing a lot of high investment, high tier mapping, if you're just going to kind of take it a little bit easier, have a lighter loot filter, and you just want to make some money on the side. You can collect 1 rare of every item level 60 or higher rare of every slot that you can use. You can use a 2-handed weapon or a 1-handed and a shield, or 2 1-handed weapons, but you can do this unidentified or identified. It's the chaos recipe. You get 1 chaos if they're identified. If they're unidentified, like so, you can sell 1 of each piece and get 2 chaos orbs. It's a nice handy way to make a little bit of extra cash. Alright, and the last one I'm going to show you today is a Vol Orb recipe. Vol Orb can be done by taking 7 Vol gems and vendoring them with any sacrifice piece. I would recommend not getting rid of Midnights as they're much rarer, but you usually have plenty of extra sacrifice at Dusks, for instance. So we're just going to go ahead and sell that, and we get ourselves a Vol Orb, which is a pretty rare form of currency and very useful for progressing your red maps. That is going to be all of the recipes I show you today. Like I said, you can check out the description, or I'm sorry, the pinned comment below, and there will be a link to all of the recipes. You can check that out on the wiki, read through, see if there's any you can apply. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I will see you next time. Bye!